like Chris Johnson. My thumbs keep drumming, kinda like the Mumford and Sons. Mommy was dumb when she got that call. I had got caught. Kicked out the college for tongues, niggas be talking. I wasn't even on camera, just hit a lick with some amateurs. Glad we did that. Now I'm flying to Los Angeles with an 8 in my pre-rolls. Call that shit a tarantula. There and tuna on your big screen hole.
Man, I do love JID. That's the old school. I was still trying to get all the stuff set up, man. Just been a long ass day. Now we're here for the show. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I feel like never mind. We're not gonna get into it. Oh, people, bro. I'm telling you. I'm really working. Well, first, welcome to the show. Welcome to Lunchtime TV. But I'm really working on doing everything I can to not sweat the small stuff. But everybody's definition of small stuff varies. There are a lot of people who believe that the traffic is not a big deal, that it's the small stuff. And to me, it enrages me. So it's always been like a big deal. So I'm trying to add it to the list of it's just the small stuff. And I keep telling myself that because it's something that I have zero control over, that I shouldn't get mad. But then I will tell myself no. And I will provide myself with reasons why I'm justified in being mad. And I want to give you some of these reasons. I do not understand why people have yet to comprehend that the on-ramp is designed for you to get your car up to the speed of everybody else on the freeway. So when you get to the part of the ramp where it merges with the traffic, you're supposed to be up to about 55, 60 because the other cars are probably going that, and that's what the shitty ass speed limit is in the state of Washington. Well, this portion that I drive consistently, because I've heard up north it's like 70, which where I came from, that's what it was. Again, I'm trying to put this on the list of the small things so I don't sweat it, but I'm providing you with reasons why I become enraged. That's just one. Another one is I've always been under the impression that the left lane is meant for the faster traffic. So I'm always wondering why people are driving 45 in the left lane. And when I see the middle lane and then also the far right lane moving faster than the left lane, I become enraged. Because this lane, the left one, and not the carpool, and that's another thing I'm going to get into. But the left lane is meant for the faster traffic. And if you drive a semi, which there's a lot of semi trucks out here, you mother lovers know better. You should be in the far right lane because you are supposed to be there because that's where the slower traffic is. The semis out here, they're off that, bro. They don't give a fuck about nothing. And they drive in the left lane. I don't like that. I hate it. It enrages me. Carpool lane. I'm going to get into the carpool lane and the lines on the road. These are all the things that I convince myself are the reasons why I'm allowed to be mad. And I need y'all's help to try to get out of this state of mind. But I'm also giving you reasons why you should now pay more attention on the road so you can understand where I'm actually coming from. So the carpool lane. We have this carpool lane out here, right? When you're driving down the freeway, there's barely people in it. And we're all bumper to bumper because the people are struggling to merge onto the freeway. So I remember how I'm telling you about, this is why this shit is fucking crazy. On the 405, when you're going basically from Bellevue to Renton, is the absolute worst traffic in America. And it's for no reason. You're bumper to bumper because there are two exits where people do not understand that they should just one after the other, let each other in on the freeway, but get your ass up to speed. And everybody goes slow because the road kind of winds a little bit and then goes up this little hill. And you're probably thinking, oh my God, what happened? Is there an accident? Is there a car stalled on the road? No, it's none of that shit. It's just these people driving slow. And in the carpool lane, no one's using it. So, yes, absolutely, because I have a car that has extremely dark tint, I ride in the carpool lane by myself. But listen, I'm finally going to just get one of those little things or just load the money on it and I'll just pay for it. Because some of these areas you have to pay for this shit. And I'm fine with that. Because what I don't understand is how y'all are telling us that we can't use a portion of a road. And to the point of the lines, I don't understand why these people let these lines painted on the road like scare them into not. It's a line on the road. Get your ass over the line. Oh, there's two lines? You're not supposed to go over those? No, I get it. But get the hell out of my way so I can go over them. I'm out here just doing illegal shit because it's just a part of the road. And sometimes you don't always get out of the carpool lane when it's just the one line or the dotted shit. And sometimes you got to go when it's two. But some of these people, they're too afraid to do it. So what they do is they ride in the carpool lane and they drive 45 miles an hour and they keep their blinker on because they're waiting for it to become dotted again or one line until they want to get over it. So then I got to ride behind them for a mile. It's usually a mile at 45 miles an hour on the freeway behind them until they feel comfortable crossing over the line. Y'all really got me effed up out here. Anyway, let's get to the show. I'm trying to get out of it. I want to put traffic as one of the petty small things and just be like, this is no big deal. But based on what I've told you, are you not understanding why I think it's a big deal? Listen to everything. I rewind the tape if you need to. These people out here cannot drive. Markel's in the chat. Shout out to Markel. Markel says, man, I was just on the freeway and kept saying, y'all are too damn comfortable going at or below the speed limit. We got people in the chat confirming it, backing up my story finally. Gabby's in the chat. Shout out to Gabby. Yeah, man. The freeways out here, listen, it will drive you insane. And I'm glad I was able to get that off my chest. Now we can share some laughs. Oh my gosh. So again, we're revisiting this story. Last week, I talked about this cornball who assaulted this young, oh, I say young. All you ladies are so young and beautiful. This young Asian woman, maybe she was older. I think she was older, actually. But anyway, he assaulted this lady for absolutely no reason. On the videotape, you can see the doormen, people standing inside the building, not doing anything. And you actually see one of them just close the door. These guys have been fired from their jobs. And there are some people who don't feel like that's appropriate. And I'm going to tell you why I think they should have been fired. Because no, you're not security And even though it's on the sidewalk, no, it's not necessarily your responsibility. But you, even though you're doorman, you work in customer service. Your employer is looking at this from a standpoint of, based on how you treated that woman in that moment, how will you treat people who come actually into the building on a daily basis? Now we have questions around that. And y'all look like suckers because you didn't even at least, the door was already open. You take 3 steps forward and go, hey, stop it. Even if you do that, you've done your part, because you're not expected to leave your post and go out. You know, you're not taking off the shit and the glasses and going from Clark to Superman, which every time I think about that, how do they not know it's Clark? I don't understand that. You're not expected to do none of that. But the fact that you did nothing and then you watched it and then you closed the door, if I'm your employer, I don't want you working here anymore. Because everything about your morals, your integrity, all that shit is in question. You weren't even willing to scream on behalf of this woman, to at least draw enough attention to that situation to where somebody else could have the opportunity to go help, or at least the guy would get spooked and he will run the fuck away. And maybe we take 2 or 3 of those kicks off of what ultimately happened to her. The first one, we can't do anything about that. Boom, she's down. But if you see that and then you run out and you go, yo, what the fuck, man? He might be like, yo, I'm not doing anything. And he'll run the fuck away. Or maybe you get your ass whooped. But at the same time, I would rather on the tape see 2 grown-ass men take their chances having to get beat up by this big-ass nigga than watch him continue to kick her in the face while watching y'all sit there and not do nothing. I'm not asking you to go get killed. But come on, bro. You weren't even going to say anything. You weren't going to spook him. You weren't going to do nothing. And then y'all just close the door after you watch her get assaulted. Stop it. Nah, you can't work here. You're not gonna work here acting like that. Because then when that type of shit kick off 3 feet inside the building, are y'all gonna do the same thing? Probably. We can't have y'all here. And I get it. You're just doormen. You're greeters, basically, right? Carry some bags every now and again. Say hello to people. We didn't ask you to sign up for violence on the application, but at the very minimum, you could have been like, hey, what are you doing? Use your outside voice. Anyway, they got fired. I'm happy about that. You heard me here clapping. Listen, y'all, I know we're about to be in that time where people want to start flying again, but I'm still telling you, like I've always told you, stay away from Spirit Airlines. This is what happened when y'all want to fly for cheap. They make you bring your own seat, sometimes your own parachute, just in case that motherfucker gonna crash. And they definitely not feeding y'all snacks. And they're also kicking people off of flights when they have their kids eating food without masks on. I know y'all seen that video. This was one of the few that I was like, yo, really? Y'all kick this y'all want this little kid. It's like a 2-year-old child. The passengers weren't complaining. It's just, are they called stewardess still, or is it just cart lady? Cart man, cart lady. In this situation, it was a female, so it's cart lady because they bring around the cart with the snacks. I just be forgetting. Airlines, I don't know, man. I don't fly a lot. Don't be mad at me. Well, I wouldn't try. I'm if anything, I'm disrespecting all of them. It's not her, but flight attendant. I was blanking for a minute. Listen, it's been a long day. Yeah. See, I got it right before they put it in the chat. I'm bugging. I know you're gonna be like, yo, this nigga's stupid. Yeah. For a brief moment, I was forgetting what the cart people are called on planes because I don't fly a lot. Flight attendant. Anyway. I said, remember when I was talking about the apps that just got me thinking on those apps, every girl's a flight attendant. How y'all all have this fucking job? Anyway, The flight attendant is taking issue with the fact that the 2-year-old is eating and doesn't have a mask on. But the parents, everyone else, they all have masks on. Apparently on the flight, it says, you know, ages 5 and below, I guess, are not required to have their masks on or something to that effect. And it was weird to see where like, this is kind of like, it's reversed, kind of like where usually it's like the people on the plane freaking out at the flight attendant or to another passenger, and it was like everybody was trying to tell the flight attendant to basically chill and that it wasn't that serious. And then the guy's like trying to talk to her and being like, well, she's just eating, what can we do, da 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 da. And then she's like basically on some, nah, fuck that. This is spirit, we not having that shit. I don't know, man. That shit was crazy. But it was weird because, like, on this show, I always make fun of people who are maskless and, like, not doing the right thing. This was not one of those situations. And it low-key had me panic. Like, now I'm like, wow, I'm never eating in public again. Because are we supposed to have the mask on when we're out in public eating? Do I got to keep it on my ears and, like, on the chin? Should I start doing that? Man, I tried to drink water like that a couple times. I end up spilling the water all on the mask, down the mask. So now there's going to just be food pieces in there. No. Now I don't know what to do. What do we do? We don't fly Spirit. That's for goddamn sure. I'm never, ever flying Spirit. They making fun of me in the chat. And you know what? I had that coming. Cart people, that doesn't sound like a terrible name. But it does actually sound kind of terrible. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Gabby said, that sounds crazy. You want a toddler to scream during an 8-hour flight because they're hungry? Fuck all that. Yeah, I don't know. I've also heard that there's been some stories where they've been kicking people off flights if their kids get to screaming a little too much. Like, it just depends on what people want to complain about that day. Like, I feel like at this point, doesn't everybody have a pair of fucking headphones? Just bring your headphones and put them on while you're on the flight. And if there's a baby crying, it's not your fucking problem because you can't hear it. You have your headphones on. Listen, these are not hard problems to solve. I feel like either I'm giving the world's greatest advice or y'all are really stupid. Anyway. I read this story today where it talked about there's some Confederate statue that's being held hostage by some group. And their demands are, hold on, let me go to the story. I want to read it because it was pretty funny. But like, I think they're dead ass serious. And that concerns me because it's like, y'all are out here risking charges, but like kind of doing some funny shit. So it's an activist group called White Lives Matter is holding a monument of Confederate President Jefferson Davis hostage until the group's demands are met. The statue will be, and this is in quotes, turned into a toilet, a group of activists says if they don't get what they're asking for. The activists want the group United Daughters of the Confederacy to hang a banner with an Assata Shakur quote on the outside of its headquarters. They want it hung for only 24 hours starting on Friday for the anniversary of the Confederacy's Civil War surrender. The quote from Shakur is, the rules of this country have always considered their property more important than their lives. Y'all, you know they be prosecuting people over shit like this, right? Y'all, and I'm not saying that you're not doing a good thing. It did make me laugh because like y'all are basically saying if they don't do this, you're gonna melt the statue down or break it down and turn it into a toilet, which is pretty funny. But like, I don't know, man. All this week I've been having a lot of talks with some of my young bucks about making good decisions and like how certain things just are not worth it. And sometimes when I see stories like this, I be thinking this is one of those things because you know how they be doing people, how they'll ruin a life. And it sometimes be over stuff like this. I don't know. I feel like also in situations where if you're trying to enter a life of crime, like don't publicly risk your criminal career for something petty. Make sure that shit is big if you're going to do it. But on this show also, we do not condone crime of any sort. I'm just saying, go big or go home. I don't know. Which that also sounds crazy. But yeah, it's like, how do you hold an inanimate object hostage? That's weird. And your threat is that we're going to turn it into a toilet. What if people were like, we were going to take that statue down anyway? Like, maybe you just did them a favor. You helped with the removal process. Matter of fact, what y'all should do is you should send an invoice because they need to take that shit down anyway. And why the fuck is a toilet your go-to for that melt? That's what I'm saying. Why didn't you turn it into like a bookcase that you could leave outside and put books in it in a very like a communal space and they could share books because then you're kicking knowledge and you make all of your books geared towards some of the content that you want spread. Not all of them, a portion. You have those in there and allow people the opportunity to kind of figure out what you're all about. Books, knowledge. Knowledge has more power than, what most people realize. But y'all want a goddamn toilet out of this. Well, you want the banner thing, but your thing is that if you don't get the banner, you're going to give them a toilet? I don't understand. But that's what made me laugh was that they were talking about turning it into a toilet. And I'm like, damn, it's a rough life. Your statue. I mean, I wonder if there's anybody that's still kind of like a descendant of this Joker. And if they were like, yo, y'all really doing my great, 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 great grandfather like that? Y'all gonna turn my nigga into a toilet? What if they're like pacing back and forth to their crib right now? Be like, I'm gonna these motherfuckers up with a Facebook post. Because people not really about that life. And who's really gonna come out on behalf of this and be like, oh my God, no. Please do not destroy the legacy of my great, 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 great grandfather. I don't know. I don't know how many greats it was. Early, it was probably 4, then it was 5. I don't be knowing, man. All right. I heard there's this documentary that Netflix just purchased for $30 million. It's 20 years worth of footage. And it's this nigga Kanye West. Flint doesn't have clean water still, I think. We got niggas that didn't get stimulus checks. We got a homeless epidemic all across the... And y'all, you shelled out $30 million for a Kanye West documentary? This motherfucker better be good. And I'm talking about like Last Dance good. If y'all watched the Last Dance documentary, even if you're not a basketball fan, there was still a lot of intrigue surrounding the life of the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan. And there still is, because Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. Kanye West is not anywhere close to a Michael Jordan. Oprah's up there with Jordan. Michael Jackson's up there with Jordan. Beyonce probably up there with Jordan. Kanye West down here. He's a celebrity. But $30 million for 20 years worth of documentary footage? No, he not that. No. Jesus Christ, no. But I bet, listen, if it's 20 years worth of footage, some of that documentary is going to be fire if they do it right. If it's been done right. Because you're talking about if the early years, oh my God. Like, I want to see video. Like, I know there are videos of him just like sitting around making beats, but I want to see like enough footage to where you really see what a grueling process that must have been for him at certain points. Because I can't imagine every day was just bliss when he's just making beats. He's yeah, every beat, another one. He was not doing that. I'm sure there were times where he was like, yo, fuck this. This shit ain't working. And I ain't gonna make it, dog. I gotta buy my mom a crib. I gotta take care of the hood. I want to see those tears. I want to see where Kanye was his most vulnerable. And there was just two white guys in the room, one with a notepad and the other one holding the camera. And he just, putting it all on the line. And then I want to see him in that pink polo with that backpack and with the Rockefeller chain. But all the extra shit. If they do it right, it could be lit. But I'm still confused as to why you would pay $30 million for that. Nothing Kanye West related to me is worth $30 million. Me and my boy James Gallon, shout out to James. We used to always crack jokes about, you remember the time when Kanye had those hip hop t-shirts? It's just a white tall tee, basically, made out of Egyptian cotton. Those shirts were like $400. It's just a white t-shirt with really expensive material. He really was trying to get niggas to pay for that. It didn't stop there. One time, this is the one and only time, I'm hanging out with one of my guys, my guy Jordan I used to work with at the YMCA. He's like, yo, we finna run to the mall real quick. I'm like, okay, I'll go. I've been to the mall like maybe 5 or 6 times since I've been out here because I'm an outlet mall nigga. Because I have more fun. It's like a flea market to me. When you're at the outlet mall, you never know what gems you'll get. I don't be at Barney's and places like that. That's not a spot for me. When I walk in there, there's a group, 3 black guys, right? They're in there shopping. When I walk in, I ain't gonna lie to you. These niggas laughed at me. And this is not a fake story. My man Jordan can confirm this shit. They literally looked at us and they were like, and I remember dude looking at the girl going, let me get 6 pairs of these in this size. And they were the ugliest shoes I ever seen. We went and looked at the price tag on them. They were like $500 a piece. These shoes were ugly as shit. In the back where they have all the clothes, they had Kanye West clothing line. You remember when he made this clothing line that just looked like, I'm not trying to disrespect or anything, but it just looked like these clothes had just been on somebody who had lived on the street for the last 20 years and was just doing everything he or she could to stretch out these pants and this shirt to make it last forever. You know how zombies' clothes look, because they've been through it and the clothes are shredded and all. That's what his clothing line looked like, y'all. Some of these shirts, I don't even want to tell you the prices. I don't even want to tell you. Too rich for my blood. And have you seen the shoes? All of that's going to end up being on this documentary. These are the things about him that I did not care about. I just want to see him making beats. But again, why did you pay $30 million for it? They must have something that will either completely elevate him to a new level or will completely shatter everyone's view on him, if it's not already bad, and put him in put the nails in the coffin. I have to imagine that's something that this is. Or he's in on it and convinced them to buy and was like, yo, I got this dope ass documentary footage. He probably did finesse the deal. And it probably is the worst thing of all time, and he probably just convinced him to pay for it. It's probably like him playing basketball with his friends. Or it's probably as good as my old TV show that was on YouTube. Oh my God, I watched that the other day. Worst shit I've ever recorded. But be ready for sometime in the next couple of years, maybe Netflix will be releasing a Kanye West documentary. And I hope that you remember I did this show and I told you that they paid $30 million for it. Flint still doesn't have clean water. It's unreal. I want to talk about real quick. I think her name is Sery Kim. Let me get into this real quick because this kind of blows my mind. Texas congressional candidate says she doesn't want Chinese immigrants to come to the U.S. at all. The at all part is in quotes. And this is what she says. I can say that because I'm Korean. No, lady. No. No. You don't get to just say that. No, why are you saying that? And are you saying that because you are of Asian descent that it's okay for you to be a hater towards people of other Asian descent? And it's just based on the fact that y'all Asians, you get a pass? Like, it's cool. I can say this out loud in front of other people who do not look like me, who will think that this shit is cool. And then it continues to give them the impression that they have a pass to do this shit. You're probably like, why is he saying all that? Because when I read this, it says, so she is a former employee of Donald Trump's administration and a Texas congressional candidate. She's facing backlash after she made racist remarks about the Chinese community coming to the U.S. She doesn't want them coming here at all. She claims that they stole intellectual property and are the reason for the spread of the coronavirus. No, you can't say that. These words were said last week during a forum for candidates of the Texas 6th Congressional District. I don't want them here at all, she said. And she said the thing about how they steal our intellectual property and they gave us coronavirus. They don't hold themselves accountable. Kim says she feels comfortable making the racist statement because she's of Asian descent. Oh, so she said that. And quite frankly, I can say that because I'm Korean. That part's in quotes. Here's what my problem with it is. And even though like I'm not speaking on behalf of them and I'm not personally offended, I'm just saying that you can't say that because, again, you said this in a public setting. It's something that was connected to your job or the job that you have previously held. So you're trying to like make an impression on people. You don't go about that by saying these type of things. And if you're trying to gain their favor and you think that by saying this is the way to do it, and then you try to have a ha-ha moment and say that it's cool because you're Asian, that's also corny. And that's why they think they can do it. It's like if I sit around with all my white friends and I go, yeah, I don't want black people here. I don't trust them. And they're responsible for the donut epidemic. If I say that, then those people who I say that to, they're going to be like, yeah, yeah, I mean, they have to be right? Because they're a politician of sorts, or they used to work for this person. This has to be right. We got to get these people out of here. And then they go and then they spread all that bullshit. And then in their little small pockets, their people believe that. And then they take it upon themselves to go out when they see people to be like, oh, let me remind this person of their place in my world. That's when you hear the remarks of you don't belong here, go back to your country, whatever people say. That's how all that shit keep happening. It happens to us. It happens to them. It happens to Latinos. Like, the crazy thing is it's not likely that this woman, Sery Kim, or I don't know if that's how you say her name, but I'm saying it like that. It's not likely that she would ever be in a situation where people will be able to really run up on her while she's just by herself. It could happen, but I imagine that based on the position that she has once held and the job that she had, she probably has some small security detail or, whatever. I don't know. Or this has never happened to her to where it has not yet impacted her. Because if you're ever in a space where you're being hated on because of the color of your skin or what you look like, the race, religion, all these things, you definitely would never want to say some shit like that. If you've ever been talked to, like, I can't imagine what any Asian person has been going through over the past year and a half, because since this virus has come up, as all people have heard, this came from China. So any Chinese person can just put in this situation, put yourself in their shoes. Because I don't have anybody walking up to me being like, that's crazy, bro. Oh, now it's a connection unstable. That means it's time to get out of here. But this is crazy. I don't care if you're of Korean descent. You don't need to talk like that. You should not talk about people like that. And you should not think that it's okay just because you're of Asian descent. Come on, man. These people it's like they have no understanding of diversity and inclusion and equity. Like, I hate it here. All right, man. Me and Steph, shout out to Steph. I don't know if Steph's in the chat, but we were having a good ass laugh earlier because on this show, I've definitely talked about people who have been misusing PPP funds. That's the stuff that people were getting for like their businesses during COVID. And some of these people have been like, you know what, fuck it. Business, we might be coming back, we might not. Let's just use the money to splurge and live a life that we've, always dreamed of, but never could really get, because not everybody gets that life. We got more people who are still doing this. Like, it only would have taken 0 times for me to understand that you playing with the government's money. We're not in a space where you can just try to do the government bad and they're not going to find out. If we were in the 70s and the 80s, yeah, you could probably get away with a whole lot because everything was dependent on eyewitness testimony. Now, it doesn't fucking matter. You swipe a card, we got that. Use the ATM, we got that. Oh, you thought that camera was broken? We got the one across the street. We got satellite imaging. We know everything. They know everything, bro. Look, my FBI agent probably watching this show right now, probably laughing. This nigga's got fucking no views. Listen, they're always lurking, okay? Y'all really thought y'all was gonna misuse the funds and nothing was gonna happen to you? Idiots. But there's also a part of me that's like, fuck, why didn't I get on board with somebody who was just misappropriating funds during COVID? I would have had a water park out back. Boy, listen, if you're gonna give me a couple $1 million, we're putting it to good use. Like, you would have been like, oh, buddy bought a property and built a water park and then applied for another business so he could operate said water park and make the money back. And then I would have just cut y'all a check at the end of the season, man. I really wish that I had enough balls to go to a water park, but once I was past like my early 20s and I realized how nasty those places are, I did not want to go. But every year I always get these emails from Wild Ways, so I might come to the water park. Nah, and definitely not now. I don't even know if that place is opening, but I was thinking about water parks the other day because I haven't been to a water park and actually been in the water in so long, but that shit looks so fun. Imagine having your own private water park out back. Every grown-ass adult man's dream. Listen, shorties, get your man a water park. You really want to show your man you love him, get this nigga a water park. He'll love you forever. What did Gabby say? Stupid people don't know they're stupid. There's no cure for stupidity. One of my family's famous lines. I've never heard anyone in our family say that until right now. Not to say that it can't be true. Maybe they just use that around the house. I like that, though. I'm about to start using that. But then sometimes I'll be wondering if I'm talking about myself. Anyway, so I've been watching a lot of Netflix documentaries this week because that's just what I'm on. And so a lot on this show, I always talk about how Black people get treated so foul by police. And I have actually had some people reach out to me and be like, why don't you talk about the amount of times it happens to white people? And I always say, if you can show me examples where a white person is potentially being hated on because of the color of their skin, we'll run the story on it. I've heard of this story before, but I never really thought it was just because he was a white guy that this was happening. But on Netflix, they have a documentary called White Boy, and it's about Rick Wershey Jr., who's also known as White Boy Rick. And apparently, like, the legend around Rick was that he was this big time drug kingpin, murderer type of street dude. And it turns out that most of that is false. He's just a long-time informant. His father was an informant, so he became an informant when he was 14. And he was asked by the FBI and law enforcement to do their bidding. They want to find dirt on specific gangs. They have Rick go out, but they want all this dirt on all the black people. And Rick was the white guy. So they get him to do all this. They almost get Rick killed mad times. Long story short, Rick is basically serving a life sentence for a non-violent crime. And that's bullshit. Doesn't matter what color you fucking are. That's bullshit. On the documentary, there is a guy who acknowledges that he was a hitman. He also tried to murder Rick on several occasions, is responsible and has admitted and was convicted for being a part of 30 execution-style killings. He only did 17 years. I think on the documentary timeline, Rick was at like year 29 or something like that. This is in Detroit. He was in prison in Detroit. And then he was actually finally paroled. Anyway, let me not spoil it. You have to watch the documentary. One of the crazy parts is that one of my favorite movies as a kid is Beverly Hills Cop. The guy who plays Eddie Murphy's boss in the movie was actually a Detroit police officer or detective. He's in this documentary and is one of these people who is a part of, or excuse me, he's deceased now, but was a part of making sure that once Rick got to jail, that he stayed in jail for a lifetime. The whole documentary is crazy. This is one of these times where there are pieces of this that I feel like Rick was being mistreated by African Americans based on the color of his skin. And it was because these are political officials with political ties and corruption and all of these things. Either way is bad. So yes, y'all got one that we know of, and the shit is crazy. But after a while, some stuff happens, but there's also this situation with him in Florida where he is currently serving time. A situation happened, and in most cases, when you're already serving time, they usually run your sentences congruently because you're already serving. So they'll be like, okay, we'll count this too. Somehow they finessed it to where that's not what happened to him. They have his running consecutively. So even when he got paroled in Michigan, he immediately, this is after, you had to watch it, but he immediately had to go to Florida, and now he's still serving time. I don't know, man. Like, we probably need more information, but based on how we operate in a lot of these other situations, when we say that listen, we're not always operating knowing every single detail, but you can tell when people are being discriminated against. Rick was a rat. He was an informant. That happens. That's a part of that life. But serving a life sentence for non-violent crimes, we all know that that's BS. And the fact that he only got one parole hearing the entire amount of time he was in there, when you're supposed to get them every 5 years, you got to watch it and you're going to start to see what I'm talking about. You're going to be like, yo, they're doing Buddy foul. But he kind of did it to himself, kind of had it coming. But yeah, they doing Buddy foul. Let me just put it in perspective for you. The hitman, he did 17 years. 30 murders. When they film his parts on the documentary, he's a free man reflecting and laughing about 30 murders. 17 years. So yes, it does happen to y'all, but it don't be happening to y'all the same way it happens to us. And it's not a who has more or any type of situation. It's we need to band together and make sure that they can't do this type of shit to people. Because again, when you watch the documentary, you will see what happens. This is a young kid messing up the opportunities for politicians and lawyers and low-level law enforcement people. And this is how they get him out of the way. And they abuse their power to ruin this kid's life. That's what the biggest problem is. People abusing power to ruin other people's lives and not being held accountable for major transgressions of any kind. Anyway. So I don't know, maybe we talked about this on the show, but I totally forgot that Peter Gunz is now the host of Cheaters. Do y'all know anything about Peter Gunz? You ever watch Love and Hip Hop? He's now the host of Cheaters, the TV show. And I saw a video today where the first time ever, at least ever that I can remember. I used to watch Cheaters a lot. And I don't remember Joey Greco or the other guy ever getting in a physical altercation with the person they were helping identify their spouse or significant other as a cheater. The guy gets so angry that Peter is showing him on the iPad where his girl is creeping that he starts to like engage Peter in a physical altercation. And it's funny to see them like throwing hands and wrestling on the ground. And then soon after, like cooler heads prevailing. And then him still having to go back to him and be like, dude, this is on the iPad. This is your girl cheating. And this is why we call this show Cheaters. But it just was funny because I had no idea that he was hosting this. But I also felt like maybe I did know that. Maybe I just blocked that from my memory because I thought that shit was fake. But no, he's really out there looking like he's still recording for Love and Hip Hop, but then you're like, wait, what is this? Oh, it's Cheaters. This shit is crazy. And I'm low-key jealous because I feel like I want to host a show like that where anything can happen. I've told y'all about my favorite Cheaters memory. These dudes get in a fist fight at the cemetery. Dude is trying to catch his shorty cheating, and she's at the doing buddy at the cemetery, and they pull up, and he wants to fight for his girl's love and her heart, and he gets his ass whooped by the side nigga at the cemetery. I will never forget that. Look it up on YouTube. Very famous clip. I love it. Gabby says, we listen to Cheaters at work. Cracks me up. There's audio of this? Oh, my God. Oh, you just have it playing in the background. What time does Cheaters come on? Because I feel like I don't ever see that pop up on the guide. Like, why is Hulu not providing that to me? You want me to watch some of these whack-ass shows and movies you have, but you got Cheaters. You're just hiding Cheaters at the bottom. Cheaters is one of the greatest shows of all time. I don't like it. All right, man, I'm out of here. What's tomorrow? Thursday? I'll be back tomorrow. Like and subscribe. Do all this. I never say that. Do people actually listen to that? Well, I feel like when people say that, that probably usually tells a nigga not to do it. Don't tell me to do it. If you want to do it, you know where that button's at. They make it red and all that so you can see it. Gabby said it comes on Saturday and Sundays around 11 a.m. Bet. Good looking out, Gab. I appreciate you. Now we're going to get nonstop laughs during the weekend because I'm going to be watching Cheaters. It's lit. No, don't say it. What am I not saying? I don't know. I'm out of here. Peace.